It is time for the weekly closes on our favorite Bitcoin miners. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, starting as normally with Clsk. Clsk, this is not great. We've been stuck in this holding pattern for a while here. Bitcoin was even up today by a decent amount. Let me scroll down by about 1%, not a ton, but 1% up. We're creeping ever so close to $100,000 again, but Clsk was down 7% on the day. It was down 1.59%. But here on the weekly, you can see here that all the momentum indicators kind of suck right now for Clsk. Clsk needs a breakout. Otherwise, we're looking at some bad stuff here, which really doesn't make a lot of sense. They came out, they're profitable. They're one of the most efficient Bitcoin miners in the business. They've got a hodl of about a little over 10,000 Bitcoin with a lot of growth going, planned growth going through the first half of this year. So the fact that we're trading down at $10.54 with very little movement up or down, kind of stuck in this range between $12 and $9 here since December, honestly, it's pretty dismal. It's pretty frustrating a little bit, to be honest. So what do we need to do right now? What do we need to see? Well, a couple of things are bad that we're seeing right here. On the BX trender here, you can see on the weekly that just went from light red to dark red again. That is bad. You can see here on the stochastics, they are both wispy and purple on pink, which is bad. We've got the RSI down here pointing downwards underneath 50. It's at 45. That is bad. It's been underneath 50 honestly since December as well. Even with this spike up here, we couldn't get it up over 59. The bears are in control basically of Clsk and have been in control since honestly February of last year. The bulls have not gotten in control of this thing since we came out and peaked back here around February to March in 2024, and then since then just bears have been in control the entire time on this stock. We really need to see some momentum shift on this. We need to see that turn around. We have to see Clsk getting some of the benefit of the fact that it owns so much Bitcoin that it mines it so efficiently that they are in fact a profitable Bitcoin miner at this time. We need to see some of that truth come out, and some of that is being held down by, you guessed it, shorts. Short interest on this stock alone is 26.5, almost 26.48% on this stock. So that is insane. They've got 74 million shares, over 74 million shares shorted on this stock, and it would take 2.3 days to cover. So we would get 2.3 days of like massive running if these shorts were forced to cover. So what we really want to see is a squeeze. There is potential for a squeeze on this thing. When it does come out, it's going to come out violent. We're going to see one of those big 30-70% candles, between like 30 to 70% candles come through in a week here when that unwinds. Right now, a lot of hedge funds, from what I understand, are going long Bitcoin, short miners. So when that dynamic finally ceases and the Bitcoin miners can't be shorted any further, they're going to explode upward. We are just getting pressed down, like constant selling pressure on pretty much all of these Bitcoin miners right now. They are just not being allowed to breathe at all. So yeah, we really need to see Clsk get back up above the 50 and 30-week moving and 20-week moving average there to get above really $12. $12 is where we really need to get above. As soon as we're above $12, as you've seen before, as soon as we got above $12, we ran all the way up to 18 almost, then came down, slogged around at 15, they got pushed right back down. So basically, as soon as we break out of 12, we're running to 18. Well, first we're going to hit 15. We might wick up to 18 and then hit a wall at 15 again. Then we have to conquer 15 to 18. Once we've conquered $18, 18 is really the line in the sand. Once we're over $18, then Clsk can finally make a move. So for some of you in the past, you asked me about the warrants. Those are actually finally getting back to a buyable zone down here. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, and hold any asset whatsoever. I have been adding to my warrants as it comes down. I'm still about 30-40% up on my warrants because I got most of them down here at about 19 cents, and I've added a few. I'm at about 14,000 of these right now, slowly adding more every time I get a dip down further and further. Now, the ultimate goal, honestly, would be 37.97 cents down here. That would be the 718 fib retracement. Currently, we hit the 618 right here, which is at 64.94 cents. And we hit that 618 fib. Been hanging out down there for about 3 weeks now. We got a wick down and came right back up above it. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. We want to see that hold. If that 618 doesn't hold, then we're coming back down to the 718. Or sorry, the 786. Got that all mixed up. 618, 786. We're coming down to the 786 at 37.97 cents. So watch for that. And if we get above 79 cents, then we're opened up back up to $1. that's basically how the CleanSpark warrants work. Of course, I think those are tradable on Webull now. I do see it on my Webull. It does come up as something that you can enter. I haven't tried to trade it, but it shows up on my Webull now, and there is a trade button, so maybe it works there. But generally, from my understanding of the warrants, they generally work on the traditional finance outlets like Schwab, Fidelity, Interactive Brokers, those guys. Let's move on to Mara. How's Mara looking today? Let's see. This, yeah, again, it's just being choked out. The stochastics, the momentum, the BX trender, they look terrible and like it's gonna bleed out more. The RSI looks awful and like it wants to go lower. This is just dismal. Are we at least getting a lower RSI higher? No, we're not even getting bullish divergence on the RSI or anything. These are just completely having all the air sucked right out of them. Again, like I've said before, Mara is gonna hold. It's got to hold this 100-day moving average. We lose that 100-day moving average, we're coming all the way back down to like $12 on Mara, and that's gonna hurt quite a lot. As soon as you see this spaghetti of moving averages right in here, you got the 20, the 200, the 30, and the 50 all right here bunched up between 1874 and 1927. Once we get above that and hold it, and actually hold it for more than a week without getting all these crazy dojis and stuff. Once we do that, I mean, look what happens every time it gets above this level right here. Every time it gets above $20, it shoots right up to 30. Just right up to 30 and then back down, right up to 30 and then back down. I don't think this time will be different. Again, Mara also has a lot of short interest. They've got 23% short interest, 1.4 days to cover in terms of their short interest currently. And I'm assuming that got reloaded more and more and more. Once it gets over, like I'm telling you, 20 is probably the strike that they use for the shorts on Mara, because if you look, every time it gets over $20, we get these huge candles: 46%, 31%, 23%, 19%. Every time it gets above 20, we get these huge candles that just go nuts. So I'm watching that for Mara. That $20 level is really important, and it gets it. We're looking for it to fly. So that's Mara. Basically, it needs to get above $20, and once it does that, it's going to fly up faster than you can blink. Btdr, I actually have sold out the majority of my Btdr. Btdr, they're talking about cleaving their company in half, making Btdr the digital currency side of the business, and white fiber the AI side of the business, because they're not getting the proper valuation from Wall Street. Which is understandable why they would do that. And if you continue to hold this, you will get shares eventually of their AI company as well as Btdr, and you'll see your Btdr value of your Btdr shares, drop to half or whatever the HPC side of the business is worth to them, and you will have that value replaced with a different ticker when they eventually get around to it. Now, it's going to be a slower process. I don't know if that will get done this year, but they have basically been getting shunned a lot. And so I cut the majority of my Btdr shares for now. It's not performing. I cut it at about a 30 some odd percent gain that I had on them, and I said, okay, it doesn't seem to be coming back to life from this. I'm gonna let those go. If it starts showing life again, maybe I'll consider getting back into it, or perhaps I'll just buy ETH. We'll see for that what I decide to do. But currently, I am mostly out of Btdr. So there you go. There's that. Pretty much out of it for the most part. And I'm looking for it. Yeah, it really needs to get back above 390, and then it can run back up to $5-6. But without that, again, this one's also being smothered. So it's just getting pushed down. Now, these might be the lows, and the 100-day moving average might be what takes it right back up to $5-6. But I was still sitting on between 30 and 40% profit, so I decided not to let it bleed any further, to take some of that off the table and just see where it goes from there. I can always get in at a higher or lower price, but I can't always get my profit back if it decides to just dump. So that's why I decided to do that with Btdr. I also don't really like that they're splitting the company up, because that means that the Btbt shares are probably going to crater, while the AI shares may go flat, go up, or crater. I can't tell what those would actually do, since they're such a small player and they're not a US-based player either. So Btdr kind of lost its risk reward for me here, as they've been falling right now. Bitfarms finally showing a little bit of life. It's flat on the week. It looks like this may be the low down here at 130. I'm glad I got out of this in the mid $2 range here. It does look a bit like a falling wedge. Bitfarms might actually be looking kind of interesting right now, but honestly, everything's been such a mess with it. Oh yeah, I already got it on there. Everything's been such a mess with it. I don't really want to touch it anymore, but there is a falling wedge forming here. Once it breaks this trend line here, it could come up as high as $2, which would be a 60-cent recovery. But I don't really see it getting over the 200-week moving average at 245 without significant tailwinds coming in for this company, and they just haven't appeared yet. So I'm still just kind of sitting doing nothing. Riot, what are we looking at here? So Riot, what do I want to say about Riot? Riot, we're looking at it to hold 1038. It loses 1038. We're coming all the way down to 850, maybe even lower. If on the upside, we're being capped right now, and you can see it, the 200-week moving average up there, which is currently at 1425. It capped us back in October and then again in January, and it will probably do so again, of course, unless something changes here with Bitcoin, like breaking. If Bitcoin really truly breaks out, all bets are off. These things could go higher. If it continues to hold and go sideways, so do the miners. They go sideways or down. That's basically how this is going to get played. This line broke, so we're done here. This line also broke. I have too many lines on this chart. There we go. Yeah, so basically we're looking at that 30-week moving average at 1038. If it loses that, we're coming back down to the bottom of the range around 850. If it goes up, I'm looking at 1425. If it breaks 1425, then we've got room up to like 1850. But I think that this 200-week moving average is providing significant resistance right now. Let's take a look at Iren. What a disappointment. What a disappointment here on Iren. We got this megaphone playing out right now. I still think we could get to the top of this megaphone here, which next week would be at about 1410. It's very, very possible. You can see here, this one's got a little different here on the BX trender here. Went from light red to actually, is that green? Let me zoom in on there. That is actually green this week. So the BX trender is telling us that momentum is up for Iren, which is different from its peers. Let me go back to Riot real quick. Was that... It's coming down. Yeah, Riot's coming down. Let me look at the big trend there. Bitfarms is getting worse. Btdr is also getting worse. Okay, Iren's different. Iren is different. It's got a green signal on the BX trender. It's actually been moving up. It's been doing a bit of a megaphone pattern here, which it could hit the top here next week, which would be, that 1421 range, and then fall all the way back down to the bottom of the megaphone. Or if it breaches the top, then we're coming back up to 16. If it breaches 16, then we've got room all the way up into 20 and potentially beyond for Iren. Iren actually has a decent chart right now, okay? So right now to the upside, I'm looking at about 1421-ish. Yeah, 1420, 21-ish. If it can get higher than that, we're looking at 16, okay? That's our upside target. Our downside, if we end up going anywhere underneath this trend line, this yellow trend line here, if we go anywhere beneath that yellow trend line, which right now for next week will be 1183, then we could find ourselves falling all the way back down into the 9s and maybe even 8s for Iren. So watch that. But the momentum is up. The RSI is above 50. The stochastic is yellow. The slow one is purple, but it is going flat. It's not pointing down, so that's good. The VX trender is going flat and turned green. That is also good. Iren has the momentum that its peers do not. So Iren might actually perform sooner than some of the others, okay, which is traditional for Iren. Iren does frequently front run many of the other miners. Corz, how's Corz looking? Honestly, Corz is hanging out down here in this low. This is the low I wanted it to come to. This is the low I wanted it to come to. It hit my line. Now it's just kind of hanging out here. Now what I want to see, I want to see it get above the 30-week moving average at 1251. Once it is above 1251, it is opened up to 1677, and if we conquer 1677, we're going right back to the highs at 1870. Okay, now that is the target there. That is the mark. We're in a downward channel right now, much like we were in an upward channel before. Let me draw the channel for you real quick here. It's going to be a bit ugly, but because I'm just going fast here, like this, and about like that. Okay, something like that. That's the channel we're in. Once we break this channel, we'll hit the 30-week. We get above the 30-week at 1251. Then we've got room to run. Let me go about right there. Then we've got room to run up to potentially 1677 or higher. If we fail there, if we fail here, we could come right back down to this line at 1097. And if we lose 1097, bottom of the channel is the next stop down at 917 potentially for Corz. So we're watching that. We're watching it. It's either going to break out of this channel and go up, or it's going to stay in this channel and go even further down and meet the very bottom of this resistance, which is all the way down here. Boom, right there. That is resistance. And we're going to make this one blue. Blue is where we're going to put that resistance line down there, about 914. That's the bottom of, sorry, support. That's the bottom of support. It used to be resistance, now support. Bottom of support down there at 914 if we cannot conquer the 30-week moving average for Corz. Let's take a look at Wulf. Wulf, they came out with news recently. They're not going to be doing their monthly reports anymore. I actually really don't like that, so I'm going to have no interest in Wulf whatsoever anymore. I know that sounds a bit petty, but if they're not going to be why would they stop that? For what reason? It's basically become an industry standard at this point to do a monthly report of your production and everything. So unless you got something to hide, why aren't you doing that anymore? So I don't like that. So I might actually not even watch Wulf anymore because of that. So anyways, just something to be aware of. It's been in a falling wedge here for a while. In fact, it's looking more and more like a channel and not a wedge anymore. So let me go ahead and delete these lines because I don't think these lines matter anymore. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a channel here. Let me see. Let me move that out of my way. And we got about a channel-y looking shape coming into form here. Yep, we got a channel. We don't have a falling wedge. We've got a channel. That's not good. So we're right above the 50-week moving average there at 482. We got to hold that. If we don't hold that, we're coming down to the 100-week moving average, basically 315. If we, on the upside, we have to get above 554. Otherwise, we're stuck in this range. If we get above 554, we're open to the top of the channel, which next week will be $6. And that's about it. So risk to the upside potential versus downside risk doesn't really make sense right now for Wulf. I don't like this chart. I would want to see it break out of this channel before I'd even be interested. And even then, even once it breaks out of this channel, it's got significant resistance at the 200-week moving average at 682. Let's take a look at HUT. How's HUT doing? HUT is also in a bit of a downward channel. Let's go ahead and draw that real quick. You'll see it as soon as I put it on there. I got this line here and about right there. Not too shabby for using a trackpad. Yeah, we're in that downward trend. Okay, so this actually isn't so bad. HUT looks better than Wulf did. Now, we do have the BX trender pointing down, the stochastics pointing down, but the RSI is holding strong above 50. So there's a shimmer of hope. We also are above all the moving averages except the 20, all right? So below us for support, we've got the 200, the 30, the 50, and the 100-day or week moving averages. So right down there at 1822, we've got strong support at 1822. We've hit it twice and bounced off of it. We've got some resistance up at 2136. We get above 2136, we're open to the top of the channel. Next week, the top of the channel is $27. To the downside, the bottom of the channel for next week is right at 1790, so we might wick just below the 200-week moving average on this downward move. So basically, you've got a $2-ish down risk to a potential $7 or $6.50 up risk on potential on HUT. So HUT is actually looking not too bad. Now I would want to see this turn from dark red to pinkish, lightish red. And then and conquer the 20-week moving average, get and hold above it for a couple of days before I'd say, okay, it might run to the top in 1 week, because we could see, a 15-20% candle in a week. It's definitely possible. So if we get above that level, if we cross this level and close it for a day or two, like on Tuesday, and then hold it for Wednesday, I'd be watching that to go up to 27 at the top of the channel for HUT. Let's take a look at Cifr. One of my favorite charts, actually. It's just a good chart. I don't own any Cifr, but I like the chart. Okay. All right, so what are we seeing here on this? So I see a couple of things I like. All right, one, BX trender momentum is flattening out on the line, and you can see that the histogram has turned light red and is going up and has been doing so for a month. That's better than pretty much all the other miners. Something that better than every other miner we've looked at so far pretty much is that the stochastics are yellow on green, and they are the fastest pointing up, the slow is sideways. So this is actually looking good. We're above 50 on the RSI for the weekly. That is great. We came down to the 200-week moving average and got a huge wick pushing us up. We're above every single moving average right now that I've got on here, which is the 20, the 30, the 50, the 200, and the 100-week moving averages. We also got a green cloud in the back. That is great. Cifr looks good. I like how Cifr looks. I like that it constantly trucks up like train tracks and has been doing so basically since 2022. I like this build up down here. This might be an area where we see it launch, and it could easily, it's coming off the bottom of this channel, could easily go to the top of this channel here at 750, 752. And if it can get just above these previous highs here at 771, we might even see this thing run up to 8 or even up to 10, like $8 to $10. We could see Cifr. So Cifr is actually showing greater potential than any of the others right now. Yeah, I like it. What about the warrants? Warrants looking about the same, kind of. They're getting a lot of wicks on top. I don't love that, but not the worst. If it broke out, if the warrants broke out, we'd probably see them break up into, like, they might even hit $3, which would be almost a double up from here. So it's not so bad. It's not too bad for that move. But yeah, I like the Cifr chart. It looks really good. We're coming off the bottom of the channel here. The 200-week moving average gave us a big old wick to the upside. Lots of buying pressure. Like, look at that volume. That volume is so much bigger than like anything else around. Anything else for months and months and months. This back on January 27th, that volume candle is huge for that. There's lots of buying pressure there. So yeah, honestly, we get above this green line. And look at us, this green line right here at like 650. We're looking for another $1.50 move to the upside, maybe even more for Cifr. So Cifr looks great. Hive, how's Hive doing? It's still stuck in this little accumulation zone down here. You can see the BX trender is getting darker red and deeper red as it holds in about the same level, which isn't a bad sign. I think once this fast stochastic turns yellow here, like it did back here, like right there, once it turns yellow like it did back here, we're going to run all the way up to this line, which starting next week, that line's at 532. So that'd be a 282 to 532, basically a double up is what you're looking at for Hive. As soon as we see these stochastic, the fast one turn yellow, I'd say that once the fast, just like back here too, it turned yellow, and well, okay, it turned yellow and it took 1, 2, 3, 4 more weeks, and then it took off like a rocket. Back here, it turned yellow here, and then it was just a rocket. Back here, it turned yellow right here, and it went 1, 2, 3 weeks, and then took off like a rocket. So basically, as soon as this turns yellow, you've got just a very short amount of time before it comes up to this yellow line and then probably fails for Hive. So we're watching that real close. Soluna on the weekly. Soluna is looking like it's not doing anything. It's just coming all the way down to these lows, lower and lower and lower and lower. It's got green momentum on the BX trender, but getting worse on the histogram, so I don't really understand how that is working necessarily. The stochastics are still pointing down. The RSI is trash. This is, like I said before, this is a zero or hero play. This company here, this particular stock here, requires a hedge fund to go. I could pump that for it to go up. If that does not happen, it will not go up. That's it. That's all there is to this one. It's basically, it's got to get the attention of some hedge fund bro who decides I could pump that, and then it will go. Otherwise, this is a zero, not a hero, and that's okay. I only put in enough to that I was willing to completely lose. So I only put enough I was willing to lose, and I'm looking like it's probably like I'm going to lose it, but I'm going to continue to hold it for now. Let's take a look at Can. Oh, all right, not too bad. Now the BX trender looks terrible because it's getting deeper red and worse off. The stochastics. The fast looks bad. The slow is rolling over as well. But if the fast turns yellow, since we're holding above 50 on the RSI, if the fast stochastic turns yellow and we break this line right here, I mean, you can draw this on your chart too. We break this line right here to the upside. Yeah, we could be seeing Can come back up to the mid twos, and if it can get over 242. Like once it's over 242, you got room back all the way to the top of these candles, which we're looking at about $3. Not too bad. If we can conquer $3, we're looking at 353 to the upside. And we got four actually, basically moving averages here as support below, right? Oh, I mean, we're below the 20, so we've got 3 below, but we will have 4 below if we go any higher. We're right on the 100-day moving average, which is great. We wicked off of the 50-week moving average. Sorry, not 100-day, 100-week moving average. We wicked off the 50-week moving average, which is not too bad. If we can hold this level right here, Can could easily return back up to $3 and even go higher. So watch that there. Be watching that. And basically to the downside, the lowest I see is going is 155. We lose 155, then we're coming all the way back down to $1 on Can. That would suck, but it could happen. Btdr was doing a bit of a megaphone here, and a couple weeks ago we came to the bottom of it again. We're holding on the 20-week moving average here. That's not too bad. The BX trender looks bad. The stochastics look bad. The RSI is holding above 53 though. So if we can hold here with the momentum all reset down to the bottom, and we start closing candles above $18, Btdr is going to come back to life with a bit of a roar there. Let's take a look at MicroStrategy now. All right, I'm adding MicroStrategy to the mix. I've got my fractal there. That you guys probably haven't looked at this in a while. Let's go here. Let's see how's this fractal doing. This fractal is basically keeping up with the weekly, like kind of spot on. I don't like that because the next part of the fractal is a big dip all the way down to $241. So I hate that. But ooh, yeah, I mean, RSI is holding up above 50, so the bulls are still in charge. We came down into the 20-week moving average, gave it a little bounce. If we cannot conquer $340 next week, don't be surprised if we're trading under 300 the week after or 2 weeks after. The BX trender looks terrible. The stochastics are not looking good. This needs to turn yellow. This needs to turn yellow, and then this needs to turn green. Like, it's got to be yellow and green. It's got to be. Before it's yellow and green, it's going to look bad. I actually sold some covered calls on my MSTX today as it was up 8-9%. I'm in profit on that already. I've been collecting a few $100s every week on that, trying to recover some of the losses that I have. I am about $6,000 in the hole on my MSTX. I was buying it up at $80-90, and then I doubled down at $38, so my average is about 70-ish. And I collected the disbursement that they gave for $1,400, and I've also been consistently collecting about between $300 and $500 every week on covered calls. Every time it pops up 10%, I sell a covered call, close it in a few days once it bleeds back off, and collect a few $100 doing that over and over again. So I'm going to collect basically my cost basis off of this one doing that, which requires having 100 shares to do at least, and then once I'm break even, then I don't care. I might just hold them and see where they go at that point. But yeah, that was kind of a disappointing move because I got into it. Yeah, I got into it when it was in like this little space here. I was like, yeah, in this space here, it's like it came down like 60%. It's ready to go back up with Bitcoin, and then it just kept falling and falling and falling and falling, and that sucks. Probably should have sold it as soon as it got under $81. But was trying to hold on to it. Because MicroStrategy is going to go up, right? Well, not always. So that sucks. It happens, so it's not so great. Let's see what else is going on here. Oh yes, Coin. Coin had a terrible day today. Where is Coin? I know I have it. There it is. Coin was down 7% today off earnings that were good. It beat EPS by 100%. It beat revenue by 23%, and it is down 8% today. That doesn't make any sense. Can you think of any company that beats revenue by 23%, earnings per share by over 100%, and then falls almost 10%? That is lunacy. That is ridiculous. I'm actually angry about that. That is stupid. Oh, in fact, the company I invested in is doing better. Better sell it all. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would anyone do that? That's dumb. All right. Anyways, unless some news event came out that I'm not aware of, which if there was some really, really bad news that came out or earnings, the call was terrible. Let me know in the comments. I haven't watched it yet, but wow, 8% today off of good earnings. You're mad, absolutely mad. Anyways. Well, the 20-week moving average has been holding us since December on Coin. That's actually pretty good. That's not so bad. That's not too bad at all. Once we're back up above, let me go ahead and draw it. Once we're back up above, honestly, $300. As soon as we're back above $300, we're looking at this thing running for the highest again on Coinbase. In the meantime, if we hold the 20 to the downside, we're looking at 266. If we lose 266, then we could easily fall back down to $240 on Coin. Now, the BX trender is doing the wrong thing. It's going down, it's turning red and getting worse. The stochastics are looking bad. The RSI is holding strong, though. So there's a little glimmer of hope. We do need to move up in the next couple of weeks. But one issue with that is that the back half of February is often kind of bad. So don't get too excited about potentially seeing the next couple of weeks be any good. They might be flat at best, but we'll see. We know that Ethereum has an excellent February. So perhaps that can help drag up Coin with those types of trades coming through. Like if there's a lot of volume on alts, we might see Coinbase, hold the line here at this area, but it really needs to hold where it is right now. It is at support. It is at support. Any lower, and we're going to drop a decent amount down to like 240, maybe even down to 230. On the upside, $300. $300 is what we need to get through. As soon as we're through $300, we can go higher and higher. Notice how before on the weekly, we never got a candle completely detached from $300. Not one. That's what we need to see. We need to see a candle that is completely detached and above $300. Let me mark this thing onto $300 real quick. 300. Okay, there we go. Once we get that, and we get a candle that is completely, even just 1 penny completely detached from $300 to the upside, that's when Coinbase is going to have a nice ability to move. But it's not looking too bad. This isn't looking too bad at all, honestly. And if we want to do a projection up here, this is looking like a flag. And if we were to take the poll, which I'm going to start here, That's a bit of a guesstimation. Yeah, 428. We could hit 428, which would be in line with around April. Yeah, about April, which is generally a good month. With this yellow line here, which is following the bottoms of this little bear flag here, following the bottoms of that out to about mid-April, which is generally a good month. So yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised to see that. How much of a percent up would that be? So if we wait till 300, I put it at 301. Let's see, 341 cents to about 420 something. We're looking at 40%. That's not so bad. That's not so bad. That's potential. That's potential. I like coin where it is right now. As long as it holds that support. If it loses that support, yeah, it's going to be bad. So I want to see it get over $300. Once it's over $300, I'm interested in coin. Right now, I'm just kind of sitting back and waiting. If you're already holding coin, yeah, watch the supports. Or if you're in CONL, CONL, that one also took a beating here. It came down and just dropped. This one is absolutely on support. This one goes down. If CONL goes down, it's coming all the way down to $30. It's going to drop $10 in an instant, and it needs to clear. It needs to clear $53. Once it clears $53, then it's got room back up to 70 and potentially even like 88 and 90, potentially maybe even 100 after that. But it's got to clear $53, and it's got to stay right where it is. Otherwise, it's dropping $10 at the drop of a hat. Okay, so anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.